With My Hero All's Justice being fully confirmed and more roster details and probably some more features being revealed soon over the next few weeks and months, I decided it's time for me to go ahead and get my roster predictions in early so I can see just how good I am about predicting who's going to be in this game, man. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to have two different actually predictions for you. We're going to have one prediction of 71 characters and one prediction of having an 80 plus character roster. So let me know in the comments which predictions you actually agree with and which ones you don't agree with. And we'll also give you a list of who we think we're going to be coming as DLC as well. But let's go and hop to this video.
Bring it on, little Suzuki. You want to see what true resolve is? I'll show you.
Alright, man. So, this is what we got right now. We're going to be doing our roster prediction for My Hero All's Justice, man. You think Lady Nugget for sure? Yeah, we're going to look at that, man. That's definitely one of the ones that I'm curious about. 100% confirmed, these are characters from the last game. So, the last game, if you don't know, the first My Hero One's Justice had 20 characters to start. After DLC, it ended up with 23. As far as One's Justice 2, it started off with 41 characters, if I'm not mistaken, and then we got 10 DLC characters, and it ended up with 51 characters at the end. This game is claiming to be a huge, giant roster. It says it on the website. You can see when you go up here, it's going to say giant roster. Where is it at? There's a certain part where it says giant, but I mean, I guess it's not on here anymore. But it does say that it's going to be a great roster. They're really implementing. It says right here, they're trying to make this a huge. Yeah, it says huge roster. Refuse a huge roster. So these are the ones that came from the last game. I've already taken out some of the people that I don't think will be a part of certain things. Like this is one of the girls that was part of like the second years. I skipped her out. I don't think she's going to be a character. I put who. These are people that I just don't remember. Probably do remember them from a certain sense, but they're probably from movies and stuff like that. I don't think they're gonna. There's some movie characters that might make it, but I think these characters just weren't important enough to make it into the actual roster. And we have some no combat people that didn't really fight, didn't do much fighting. And then these ones don't remember. I put it right here just because they're duplicates. I already have their cards down here. These are duplicate cards, so of course I remember these characters. Alright, so we have two different predictions we're going to give you. We're going to give you our predictions if we think it's going to be 70 characters. We'll put 71. If we think that it's going to be 20 extra characters, then this is going to be the prediction if they're adding 20. And then we'll also give you some of the predicts that I think are going to make it into the roster if it's an 80 plus game roster where there's 80 plus characters, since they're saying that it's going to be huge. Alright, so when we start off, first, we got to get rid of some of the obviouses, man. So we do know this is the full class of Class 1A. The characters that we're actually missing, we're missing a lot of the metahumans, which I talked about in the past video, which is Koji, Rikido, also Shoji. We also didn't have Toru Hagakure, and we didn't have Hanta Seto, which I don't remember. This is the guy that sends the tape out of his elbows, isn't it? Like, bro, like some of these characters don't even really just know, like, forgot about them completely. So of course we'll be getting him. This will be right here. Oh, sorry, not in this spot. So this makes 1 of the 20. This makes 2 of the 20 with this character right here. This is gonna make 3 of the 20. It's gonna make 4 of the 20, and this is gonna make 5 of the 20 and 6. And just like that, we already have 6 slots gone. Already 6 of the 20 characters that I'm putting in my 71 character prediction is gone just from that. These I think are hard locks. I'm not, I think, they said they're going to have all of 1A playable unless they decide to make some of them DLC from the start. I don't think so. I think these characters are in the game from the beginning. And you can also see from on right here on the Steam, they even have like this little scene right here where it's showing all the members of Class 1A. So I think these are for sure locks in the roster. Alright, so now we get some of the other characters. First, we have Dabi, or Toya Todoroki. I think for sure, that is for sure, we are getting another form of Dabi because he's completely different. This is who he truly was, his mastermind plan, everything that he planned came together in these final 2 seasons, and I do think he will be in this game, for sure playable, not as DLC. Things get a little bit difficult when we think about Deku. In the original One's Justice, we actually had a few, we already started getting duplicates of Deku in the original One's Justice, we had duplicates of Deku. So it's fair to assume that we probably will be getting some duplicates in this new one. In the original, we had the normal Deku, and then we also had the, I'm pretty sure this is the shoot style. And we can see that right here. When we actually move over to One's Justice 2, they even doubled up on it, and we had the normal Deku, we also had the shoot style, and they also gave us the 100% whenever he was fighting Chisaki. And I didn't mention that as well. We already have these characters in the tier list, but there are a few characters that take up slots that already have duplicates, with Chisaki having 2 different forms, Deku had 3 different forms, and then I think we also had a duplicate, and then we also had a few Nomus. We had a Nomu here, and I think this is also a Nomu here as well. So there is a chance that they also add another Nomu. We'll talk about that. And if they do add 2 more forms of Deku, I think we would get the Vigilante or the Black Whip Deku right here. I think he would be a lock. And then I also think we would also get Gear Switch Deku, which is the one where he's fighting Shigaraki now, and he's actually using the powers of All for One. So I think 2 more Dekus. This one could maybe look like the form during the war arc, and then the skin will be the Vigilante part where you can put on his mask that he had whenever he went on his own stuff. If you realize I'm calling him Vigilante, I don't call him Dark Deku anymore because, like, there's not a single thing that's dark about Deku. Like, what, a bad hair day? So I'm not calling him Dark Deku. It's Vigilante. I remember when people were calling it Dark Deku, I was so excited leading up to this arc. Like, dang, what is he gonna be doing that's dark? And then the season starts, and I'm like, bro, he's just Deku without friends. That's dark. So I'm gonna call him Vigilante Deku, man. Vigilante. All right. So next one we saw these characters in the trailer. We don't know if they're DLC or if they're locked in as like playable characters from the beginning. It maybe would be smart marketing to make these DLC, and I'm thinking I might go on the gamble of saying maybe Iron Might and All for One younger version are going to be DLC. They showed them in the trailer. I think that's great marketing since they're already going to be putting so many of their heavy hitter characters in the game from the beginning. I think this is maybe 2 they can hold on to. It'd be lovely to have them in the base roster, but it's also smart to just hold on to them. So I'm going to say they might hold on to these 2. All right. I do think we're going to get 2 more forms of Shigaraki. Yes, 2 more forms of Shigaraki. I think we will get the deformed version. We've already seen that, the buff, deformed Shigaraki. And then I also believe we will get the beginning of the war arc Shigaraki, what we saw whenever his body was still healing. You could maybe argue that you need 3 forms, the before the war arc, before he went off and had to heal himself, and then the one where he wasn't fighting, when he was still using his long extending arms whenever he was fighting inside the cage, because he was fighting differently when he was inside the cage. His quirks were locked away, so that's why he had to use that extending type of fighting style. But I kind of think that this form will take that up, and they can just have the original war arc Shigaraki when he broke out of the hospital and was using all his powers right here. So now we have, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 of the 20 slots are gone. There's a few pro heroes that we're missing right now, which is Cementos, and we also have Best Jeanist, and this is also the girl from Endeavor's agency. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to see what the roster is looking like as we go. We might move them up. For now, I'm going to put Cementos in a prediction for 80+, and also Best Jeanist in a prediction for 80+. I think if it's a 71 character roster, maybe these 2 might not make it. We'll have to see about that. I'll say the same thing. This character, they put in some of the second years, so you definitely could put in somebody from the agency. I'm pretty sure like this is Endeavor's sidekick, or I remember her name, but I don't remember her name, but I know she works for one of the agencies. I'm going to say it have to be an 80+ roster. We might even move her down from that. Red Riot, I do think, not Red Riot, this is Edge Shot. Edge Shot, I also think would be an 80 plus roster prediction. Lady Nugget, it's very hard. We do see some cutscenes. It'd be very hard to not put Lady Nugget in the base roster if you're going to tell the story properly, because she played such a big role in the Vigilante Deku arc, which is why I do think she maybe finds a way to squeeze in there. Alright, she finds a way to squeeze in there. So now we have 12 characters. 12 characters. Now, we come down here to some of the duplicates, and this is where things get a little hard. We could get another Endeavor. Endeavor, he is a little bit different now that he is the #1 hero, and this could be #1 hero version of Endeavor. This is a hard one. I do think initially we could put Endeavor, but before Endeavor, I want to talk about a character that I do think is very important. It seems like they're very much preaching that we are going to get another version of Todoroki, where he's actually fighting Dabi. I do think we will get that version, that one. It seems like they want to give us another Bakugo, so I do think this could be a lock as well for our predictions. Spinner. I feel like a lot of what the new characters that we're getting has something to deal with the Meta Liberation War arc and things like that as well. And Spinner is literally the spearhead of the meta-humans and stuff like that. So I do think we get Spinner. Now, where things get a little difficult with Spinner, are they going to give us just the normal form of Spinner, or are they going to give us the deformed lizard form where whenever he turned really big? And I actually didn't upload that one in here. Let me put that in here real quick. All right, so this could take up 2 slots. And I don't want it to take up 2 slots, so I'm going to go with the risk of they only give us the big version of Spinner. Or maybe they find some way for him to have an awakening. But I feel like if they put both, I just don't know. Maybe they give us the original form of Spinner, and maybe a large version maybe could be DLC. I don't know if they really do too many transformations where a character changes into something else in One's Justice. They could make the exception for Spinner, but I think I'm going to go with maybe that the larger version is probably going to be DLC. Other characters that I do think we need to get out of the way before we start talking about some duplicates and having to move people. I really want Star and Stripe. I know Star and Stripe didn't show up for that long, but I do think she'd be a really cool character. They could push her for DLC. They very much could, and instead save some of these slots for other people. I think this maybe would be a very hyped DLC that people would pay for. So maybe they would put Star and Stripe right here. Unfortunately, even though we definitely do want her in the base roster, I think Star and Stripe could also be DLC. Vigilante's DLC would be pretty fire too, Lusaka. That would be nice. I wonder if they are going to do some Vigilante stuff. And how many more slots do we got? We got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We only got 5 slots left. 5 more characters from this list down here. 5 more characters that we could get. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put Destro. I do think we will get Destro because he played a big part in the Liberation War. I think Destro is a prediction that goes into the 71 roster. I am going to go with us getting the #1 top hero, Endeavor. So that puts us at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have 3 slots left. 3 more slots. If we're going to tell the story accurately as well, Prime All Might, that would definitely be a DLC. Definitely would be a DLC. We already have All Might. I think there was only 1 All Might in both of the games. There was only 1 All Might. There's only been 1 All Might. Prime All Might's in here. There's only been 1. Well, now this isn't Prime All Might, but that I think a Prime All Might would definitely have to be like if the roster was bigger, for sure, for sure. All right, we got a few more slots. I do think of some of these characters that are important. I think that Mirko would probably be one that's very important, considering she went to the hospital and she was a big part of being able to destroy the stuff. Mirko is a lock in there. Now, we have quite a few pro heroes that are missing from this still. We also still even have Recovery Girl that's not in the game. I do think right here we get a pick from 1B. I think he plays such a big role in the fight versus Shigaraki. His ability to copy quirks I think would be really cool. Forgot what this guy's name is. What is his name? Oh yeah, Monoma. I do think Monoma would make the roster here. You said she definitely would be starting roster. She should be starting roster. There's no reason why we shouldn't get Mirko. And we have one last spot. One last slot for the for sure 71 roster. And I think maybe this one is not going to be... So now that we have some pro heroes, I think now we can make the decision about moving one of these up. Because I think one of those characters maybe have a little bit more priority than what we're seeing down here. You could make the argument about Mount Lady and also Ibarra. One of those ones being a little bit more important. But actually, I'm still going to say that we're maybe not going to have Cementos and Best Genius in the base roster. I'm going to go with the fact that they've done it in both of the past games. I think this last slot is going to go to a high-end Nomu. I think it's going to go to a high-end Nomu. I think the high-end Nomus played a very big just a very big role in the fights, and also with Mirko whenever she was in the hospital trying to stop things. I do think that it's going to be a high-end. Mount Lady should be starting roster, but I don't know if she can take out any of these other characters. I think for sure we're going to get another Toga. I think for sure we're going to get Nabi. There's questionable about these duplicates of Deku and Shigaraki, but I think I'm pretty accurate. If we're getting Mount Lady, they're probably going to kick out Lady Nugget, or maybe Spinner. Spinner might be my one hot prediction, but I don't see how you tell the story of Mazo without having Spinner, because they have such a big fight together. So this is what I'm going to go with. This is my 71 roster prediction. If we're going with 80, then that's where I'm going to have Cementos, Best Genius. We have this girl from the agency. We also have Ed Shot, and I think we have a few more spots. So we have, this is 4. We got to at least add 5 more. You say you think his Shigaraki's form would be like his super instead of... That is true, but I think they already confirmed that he has 2 different spots. When you look at the when you look here, you can obviously see that Bakugo is fighting a form of Shigaraki that's not completely deformed and large. But then when you look at the Steam, you can see the large version. I think this means that we'll get 2 different versions of that. To finish out this 80-man, 80-character roster, that's where I think we can get some of these other characters, like the Ectoplasm guy. I also think this is where we could also get Ed Shot. We have the 80-plus roster. We have the 71. The 71 base roster, this is not changing. This is what I think will be for sure base roster. If we have 80-plus, this right now makes this roster... This is 71... Now, this is 82, 93, 94, 95, 96. I don't think the roster is 96. I think we got to cap this out maybe at 85. 85. So that means I need to get rid of... If I make it at 85, I need to have 14 characters in here. Only 14 characters need to be in this area. So... From that perspective, I do think, and we can have some DLC. I'm going to predict 10 DLC because there's going to be DLC as well, just like it was for All's Justice, One's Justice. So I think DLC-wise, we could get Cementos. We could also get Best Genius. I think Ibarra also. 1, 3, 6. So that's 3, 6, 7. We only have 3 more spots. Out of the 7, I think those last spots that we get maybe could go Pro Hero right here. I think it could also go to Ed Shot. And I also think it could go to Mount Lady. I think Nana could be DLC. Maybe we might have to push this base roster up a little bit. This isn't too bad right now, though. These are DLCs, so some of these need to be skipped. So we'll actually move it around a little bit. I am going to switch, and I'm going to think the Pussycat Doll is going to get skipped. They're not going to be in the game. I think this guy might get skipped as well. I don't think they'd be in the game. I think he'd get skipped as well. Probably be skipped as well. Probably be skipped as well. Just a sidekick. Alright. This allows me to move some things around. Alright, so if we're doing the 80 roster, just base roster, I actually do think it'd be smarter to have Cementos, these ones in there. DLC, that's where things get interesting. This is where I think we could have some of the other all-for-one users, which means we can have Nana right here. I think maybe Kamui Woods be pretty cool because he'd be a character that we forgot about after a while. And I don't think any of the other users, I think if any of the users, old users make it, it would be Nana. And maybe they would give us him, but we didn't even really see him fight. They could be very creative if they wanted to put these other characters in there. But I do think maybe they will be skipped for now. It'd be really nice if they wanted to use the other all-for-one users. And if they end up proving me wrong with this, I think these are the first characters that get moved up into a different slot. See, we see them in the trailer, but if they give us everything from the beginning, what's going to be the reason to push us to buy things? What's going to be like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's a great marketing thing to make people want to buy the DLC. That's the only reason why I'm thinking that they maybe keep them as a DLC option and not make them available from the just beginning. How many DLCs do we have right now? We have 4. We have 8 DLCs. This roster right here, 71. This makes it 82, 83. Which one should we put up there? Which one would move up there? Would it be the Dragon Hero or would it be Edge Shot? Which one would, I think this is Edge Shot, right? Is this Edge Shot? Sorry, man, the names, yeah, Edge Shot. Which one? Which one would you pay for more with DLC? Would it be the Dragon Hero or Edge Shot? So this is the final roster. This is what I think the rosters are. These are my predictions. This is what I think my predictions is. Of course, we have the 100% confirmed. And then this is if we think it's going to be a 71 character roster, just with 20 extra characters. I think we get all the members of Class 1A. We'll get a new Dabi. We'll also get a new version, 2 new versions of Deku, 2 new versions of Shigaraki. We'll get Lady Nagant. We'll get a new version of Todoroki and Bakugo. We'll get Spinner. Hopefully, we don't know if it's going to be the Beast version or him in his normal version. I think we get Redestro. We'll get a new version of Endeavor, Mirko, Monoma, and finish things out with an extra high-end Nomu. If the roster is 80 plus, more slots, then I think we can get some pro heroes that we're missing, like Best Genius and Cementos. We could also get another pro hero, just some more pro heroes that we've been missing from the roster, and also some more characters from 1B, which I do think would maybe fill out things as well with Ibarra and also Mount Lady. I know Mount Lady not in the base roster seems like a hot take, but we also got to mention that, we also got to remember that Mount Lady, Best Genius, and Cementos have been missing from this roster since the first game, and I think Mount Lady kind of falls a little bit in the same situation as Gigantamatia. If they don't have him, I think they're maybe just wondering how they're going to find some way to implement her and make the game still fair. If Mount Lady gets put into the game, that opens up the window for us to get Gigantamatia as a DLC, I think. But I think for now, this is what things are looking like. If we have DLC, I do think that for good marketing and for getting people to want to buy the DLC or the season pass, that they're going to have Iron Might and All For One as DLC, especially since there's still some more stuff that we haven't seen from the fight. Now, of course, if this game, we do think this game is releasing in 2026, maybe after the final season airs, and that could moot my point, and that would move them into this base roster, which then knocks out 2 characters. If Iron Might and All For One Young Version are base normal characters, then I think that the characters that get knocked out is probably going to be Monoma and maybe also the high end, or there's a chance that they could knock out Mirko. For me, I know this is my hot take. My hot pick is I think that Skinner and I think that Redestro are a lock, if you're telling the story properly. But to finish out the DLCs, I think Star and Stripe would be a good way to get people to pay. The Dragon Hero, Beast version of Skinner, Edge Shot, Kamui Woods, Nana Shimura, also the other version of All For One, for One For All, and then also the Gun Hero. These are my full predictions. y'all can let me know, how do you feel about it? Where did we go wrong with some of these predictions that we made? I skipped out on movie characters. If we get to see some movie characters, that'd be pretty good. And also, if they decide to give us some Vigilante DLC, that would also be pretty fire as well. But yeah, that's everything. Let me know how y'all feel about my predictions. And this is my final prediction for My Heroes All's Justice. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. And yeah, see y'all in the next one.